everyone, my name's Caitlyn and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. Today I am very excited to be sharing some of my favorite Christian historical romances. So growing up I loved historical stories so much. It was really my favorite genre that I read the most of. And I've read a lot of Christian historical romances. Oddly enough, I have not been in a huge historical reading mood the last couple of years, but yeah, I kind of went down a watching the Christie shows rabbit hole in the last few days. So I'm kind of in a historical mood right now. So there may be some historical books being read in the near future this year. We'll see. And hopefully that will happen because I have several that are on my physical TBR that have been languishing there for quite some time. But anyway, so I just wanted to come on and share a few of my favorites. This very likely will probably be the first in a series, potentially, because I'm sure I'm not going to remember all of the ones that I love so much in this video. So yeah, I will just go ahead and get started. These first two are actually both second books in a series, and I do recommend reading them in order. I'm just recommending these particular ones right now because they are my personal favorites of the series. So first up we have On Wings of Devotion by Roseanna M. White. This is book 2 in her Codebreaker series, and I just love this book so much. It is just, I just adore it. The romance is amazing. Arabelle is an incredible heroine. Camden, yeah, he's pretty great. He's pretty awesome, and his salvation story is just incredible. It may very well bring tears to your eyes. And this book is just such a fun read. I loved it so much, and highly recommend it. Then we have another Roseanna M. White, and that is The Reluctant Duchess. This is book 2 in the Ladies of the Manor series, and I highly recommend this whole series. And this series I do definitely recommend that you read in order, so definitely start with The Lost Heiress. But it is so good. This one has a Scottish heroine, and the hero, Bryce, is just so sweet and tender and kind to her, and it's a marriage of convenience story. He's a duke, and yeah, it's just, oh, it's so good. And now it makes me want to reread it. Okay, next up we have an Elizabeth Camden. This is actually, yeah, I think it's the first Elizabeth Camden I read. I actually got this book to review from Bethany House back in 2012 when it released. It was one of the first books I got from them to review, and that is Against the Tide. I recently talked about this in my underrated books video, and yeah, I just love this one so much. It's so good. So good. Lydia, the heroine, is a linguist. She's a language expert, and or something along those lines. Yeah, and she works for the Naval Yard in Boston, and yeah, it's so good. The hero is awesome, and yeah, I just love this book so much. And then next I have another, now I'm moving into the books that I either don't have physically or they're packed away and they're not easily accessible for me. So next up is another Elizabeth Camden, and this one is called With Every Breath. And this one is about a Scottish doctor he's pretty awesome. Yeah, he's pretty great. And the heroine is like a statistician kind of thing. It's in Washington, D.C. in the late 1800s or early 1900s. I can't remember the exact date. And it is about tuberculosis. The hero is trying to find a cure for tuberculosis. And it's such a great story. The romance between them is great. They knew each other as children. They were sort of friends turned enemies. And yeah, it's just, they have a great relationship. And I loved this book so much. I still love it. It still lives rent-free in my head. And I kind of have a personal connection to it because my grandfather, my mom's dad, was actually cured of tuberculosis in the 1970s, about like 15 or so years before I was ever born. But yeah, So he was cured of it. He spent about a month, I think, a month or 2 months in the hospital and was cured of the disease. And yeah, he lived to be almost 94. So yeah, definitely felt a personal connection to that book. Okay, and then next up we have A Noble Masquerade by Christiane Hunter. This is the first book in her Hawthorne House series. Is that right? I think that's right. Yeah, and this book is just, it's Regency, and I'm not the biggest fan of Regency. I don't read a ton of it, and yeah, it kind of has to be something special and something unique about it to kind of grab my interest, because a lot of them tend to feel the same. I do love Jane Austen, but yeah, a lot of the ones that are written today kind of all blur together in my mind. So there kind of has to be something unique about it. And this one is so much fun. It is hilariously funny. I love Miranda. I love Ryland, and it's just fantastic. This is about a young woman named Miranda, as I said, who her mother wants her to be a lady, and she is a klutz and not very good at the societal expectations. And yeah, and she has been secretly, when she gets upset and stressed, she secretly writes letters to her brother's best friend. Her brother is a duke, and she secretly writes letters to his best friend, who is also a duke. And the story gets going when one of the servants accidentally mails one of those letters, and then so there's like a hidden identity kind of trope, and it's so fun. It's such a fun book. So if you have not read it yet, I highly recommend it. If you enjoyed Jen Toronto, you are going to love Christiane Hunter. So highly recommend that one. Okay, let's see what we have next. Next up we have, let me make sure I've got all of them. Oh yeah. Next up is Above the Fold by Rachel Scott McDaniel. This was her debut novel, and it is so good. Oh my goodness. And you know it's good because it would have to be really great to make me love a 1920s story, because 1920s is not one of my favorite time periods, but I love Rachel's writing so much. She brings it to life, and she shows the realities of life in the 1920s without ever glamorizing things, and I love that so much. And this book is just brilliant. It's just absolutely phenomenal. I love it with my whole heart. And yeah, there's a pretty awesome twist at the end that I don't think you'll see coming. So highly recommend it. Okay, the next one, let me make sure I got all of them. Yes, I do. Okay, so next up we have a duology by Karen Witemeyer. And this is one of her older series that I don't see talked about a whole lot. So the first one is No Other Will Do. And this is book 1 in the Ladies of Harper's Station, I think is the series title. And yeah, it's about a women's colony. And yeah, it's really fun. The heroine has 2 like elderly great, I think they're great aunts. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're great aunts who are hilarious. They are just, oh my goodness, they are balls of fire, both of them, but they are just absolutely hilarious. And yeah, it's a story, she and the guy knew each other as kids, and yeah. So there aren't any men that live in this women's colony, because she's taking in women from, abusive families, abusive situations, and all sorts of difficult life circumstances. And yeah, so it's very comforting for them to be able to be in this community made up entirely of women. But when someone starts stalking them and danger is abounding, and someone's coming after the woman at her colony that she's created, she has to call this guy that she knew as a child, who is now a explosives expert for the railroad, I believe. And so she has to call him to come and help. And it's just such a great story. I just love it so much. Then the second book in that series is called Heart on the Line, and this one is about a woman who lives there at Harper Station, and she is a telegraph operator. And she has actually been engaging in a friendship that might be something more with another telegraph operator. So they have like, I think they have, I'm pretty sure, it's been years since I read it, but I'm pretty sure they have like their own like code names that they use. And yeah, it's so fun. It's so great. And this one has a hero that's a little bit different for Karen's heroes because he is very nerdy. He wears glasses. He's very nerdy, and he rides a bicycle. He doesn't ride a horse. He actually doesn't get along super well with horses, but yeah, he's such a fun character. I love Amos. He's just awesome. And yeah, that's a really, really great one. And I don't see those ones talked about too much, so highly recommend both of them. And then the last two are actually Pepper Basham books. So I love Pepper Basham. She is one of my all-time favorite series. I adore her historicals and her contemporaries. So the first one I'm going to talk about is called Laurel's Dream. And this is book one in the My Heart Belongs in the Blue Ridge series. And it's so good. So good. It's such a powerful series, and I love it so much. If you're like me and you love Christie, I have not yet read the book by Catherine Marshall. I do plan to do that sometime in the near future, but I grew up on the movie, never saw the TV shows until just recently. I'm seeing the follow-up shows from that, but I grew up on the pilot movie and just watched that over and over again. And this series has all the same feels as Christie. So if you like Christie, you will love this series, but it's fabulous. It's a fabulous series, and I highly, highly recommend it. All three of them. Okay, the last one is another one by Pepper Basham, and it might still be available in audio, but right now it's not available in ebook or paperback because she got the rights back to this series and she's going to be re-releasing them this year. But this one is The Thornbearer, and here is the new cover that it will be re-released in May. I believe May 15th is the date. It's up for pre-order now on Kindle. The paperback's not up yet, but the Kindle, I believe, is up for pre-order. So yeah, isn't that a gorgeous cover? So this is book one in her Pen and Time series. This was actually her debut novel, and it's so powerful. It's amazing. It really is. The whole series is just beyond incredible. I love it so much. For trigger warnings, this one does have, you don't see it on the page, but there was child sexual assault, incest that had happened prior to the start of the book. And so that is a struggle that the heroine deals with. So yeah, that's something that could be triggering for some. So I want you to be aware of that. It's definitely a very deep, powerful story. There are a lot of crazy things that happen, but yeah, I highly, highly recommend The Thornbearer. I love it so much. I can't wait for it to be re-released in May. Okay, so that's all I have for this video. I would love to hear about some of your favorite Christian historical romances, because I'm always looking for recommendations, and especially now as I am in a bit of a historical mood, I'm definitely looking to add to my TBR with some good books. So yeah, if you have any recommendations, leave them down below. If you've read any of these, let me know. And yeah, let's just chat about all the things in the comments. Thanks you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.